Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for being with us today. The Global Environment Facility, the GEF, is the largest public funder of environmental projects today. What role do you see your organization playing in terms of being a catalyst for change in the field of landscapes and sustainability?
Right, and first and foremost, we the humanity has been facing the huge challenge. It was very clear from Paris Climate Agreement, but also SDG, which both of them were approved in 2015. The message is that we the human being have been pushing that carrying capacity of the Earth system to its limit. So we really need to change the way we work, the way we produce, or the consume, so that we are focusing on the key system change of the three areas: energy, then the cities. But the third one is actually land use, because as you know that we need to find a way to feed 9 billion people sometime very soon without degrading the natural environment anymore. Right now, this land use is 37% of the GHG emissions, so that it is actually one of the biggest forces to put the pressure on Earth. So that how we could continue to feed the people without degrading the natural environment anymore, it's one of the big challenges. So we see the role of the GEF as a catalyst of this transformational change, which is quite a departure from the past, because we tend to do maybe a small but nice projects here and there scattered all over the world, but how we could really bring everybody together on board to work towards the system change. So that is actually the huge challenge, and we are quite committed to be a good catalyst to trigger that kind of system change.
So when people are applying for projects at the GEF, in order to transform this vision that you've just described, what do you look for?
It's a very good question, and we have been quite struggling about it, because if we are serious about this system change in land use, we need to really bring quite a diverse stakeholders together at one large scale landscape. We need to work with quite a number of ministries across the board. We need the environmental ministry, but we also agriculture and water, sometimes transport, not to mention the finance or planning. So how we could really decide of those ministerial, stakeholders. We, the GF, serve the conventions, but sometimes the climate convention, biodiversity convention, land desertification convention, they also try to claim their own land. But then what we really need is to bring those stakeholders together to really find out how the land be most usefully or effectively used to actually continue to feed the people, continue to serve the needs of the human being, but at the same time, to protect the nature, because we were also losing the potential of the nature, that the soil health, that the forest, so that the forest power to actually to absorb carbon. So without that we reached another limit, that we have to find a way to bring those people together. And one of the most challenging part is also private sector. How we can work with the private sector, because there is a lot of needs on the ground. Interesting, there is also the needs on the capital market side. Many of the investors are now much more interested in investing in this nature, but there are kind of difficulties that to how those demand and supply can meet together to create a system change.
Right. What would you say right now is the situation of the role of the private sector in environmental restoration and protection? As you've said, there is capital, and there are a lot of projects that need this help. So what is the gap right now?
There are three maybe barriers for a private sector to invest in, let's say, landscape. That many of the projects are too small, that the smallholders are small, that the scale is small, the landowners are small, so that so how to bring this small scale to a size which can be attractive to the investors. So that's one. The second area is actually the capacity building. Many of those smallholders are actually not really able to make their project bankable, so that how we can help them to make the proposal much more bankable, so the capacity building is important. The third one is de-risking. There is a lot of kind of perceived, maybe technical, but those perceived risk from private sector, private investors, because they are not accustomed to do it and they are not sure that if they can get the return, so that somebody needs to de-risk their investment.
You will be a keynote speaker at the Global Landscapes Forum. What are you looking forward to, and what do you find this platform can offer you?
No, actually, it's a kind of evidence that the world has finally actually discovered the power of soil, the power of forest, the power of nature. So that I see clearly the political momentum is gaining. So this is actually the evidence, a testimony that we are finally, or nature finally, has attracted so much of political and policy attention. So it's a kind of moment we need to seize. But in order to really turn into this political momentum to something concrete, I think we really need to work together.
Thank you so much.